Under the darkening skies of the Punjab, Alexander the Great faced King Porus at the banks of the Hydaspes River. As the Macedonian troops crossed in the early dawn mist, the roar of elephants and the glint of armor met them on the opposite bank. The ground was soaked with rain, and the soldiers' feet slipped in the mud, but they marched on, knowing their legendary king led them into the heart of India. Porus, mounted on his towering war elephant, surveyed the battlefield as the summer rains intensified. His soldiers, accustomed to the monsoons, dug in for a hard-fought defense. Alexander's phalanx struggled in the slippery terrain, but their discipline and relentless pursuit eventually led to a hard-won victory, capturing both the king and his elephants. The cold, arid winds of northern India whipped across the plains of Tarin as Prithviraj Chauhan's Rajput forces clashed with Muhammad of Ghor's invading armies. The Rajputs, known for their cavalry, charged in waves under the blistering sun, the hooves of their horses kicking up dust clouds visible for miles. The Ghurid forces buckled under the onslaught, forcing Muhammad of Ghor to retreat, nursing his wounds. A year later, under a clear sky, Muhammad of Ghor returned to the same battlefield, determined to reverse his fortunes. This time, his soldiers were more disciplined, using deceptive tactics and ambushes to weaken the Rajput cavalry. Despite fighting valiantly, Prithviraj's forces crumbled, and the battle marked the beginning of Muslim rule in North India. On a cold morning in April, the plains near Panipat became the stage for one of the most important battles in Indian history. Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, led his forces against the vastly larger army of Ibrahim Lodi. Babur's soldiers moved with precision, using innovative artillery tactics to break Lodi's war elephants, turning the battlefield into a chaotic clash of gunpowder and steel. As dust settled, Babur's victory solidified the foundation of the Mughal Empire in India. His troops, tired but victorious, reveled in their success under the crisp afternoon sun. The Battle of Panipat would forever change the political landscape of India, ushering in an era of Mughal dominance. The scorching June sun beat down on the mountainous terrain of Haldighati as Maharana Pratap of Mewar prepared to face the forces of Mughal Emperor Akbar. His troops, clad in traditional Rajput armor, felt the pressure of the Mughal artillery and cavalry. Pratap, riding his loyal horse Chetak, led a furious charge into the heart of the Mughal ranks, but the battle ended in a stalemate, with the Mughals eventually gaining the upper hand. Despite the defeat, Maharana Pratap's spirit remained unbroken. His forces retreated into the mountains, adopting guerrilla warfare tactics that kept the Mughals at bay for years. The rough, mountainous terrain, along with the sweltering heat, played a significant role in the ongoing resistance. Under ominous grey skies, British East India Company forces led by Robert Clive faced Nawab Siraj-ud-Dowlah on the fields of Plassey. The monsoon rains had left the ground damp, and both sides eyed each other warily. The tide of battle turned when Siraj's commanders betrayed him, and Clive's well-disciplined European soldiers moved forward to claim a decisive victory. The victory at Plassey marked the beginning of British rule in India. As British soldiers celebrated under the heavy clouds, the locals realized that the East India Company's influence would grow stronger. With Bengal now under British control, the wealth of India began to flow into British coffers. A few years later, in the chilly October air near Buxar, the British East India Company clashed with a coalition of Mughal, Awadhi, and Bengali forces. The Indian forces, uncoordinated and hampered by internal strife, struggled to hold their lines. British cannons thundered through the dawn mist, and by noon, the battle was won. The victory at Buxar further solidified British control over northern India. Soldiers stood victorious as the realization dawned that the Mughal Empire was now a shadow of its former self. The British East India Company, with its modern tactics, began to assert dominance over vast swaths of Indian territory. In the humid jungles of southern India, the British faced off against the fierce resistance of Tipu Sultan, the ruler of Mysore. The jungle terrain and the monsoon rains often turned battlefields into quagmires, challenging both sides. Tipu's soldiers, equipped with rockets, inflicted significant damage, but the superior numbers and organization of the British eventually led to Tipu's defeat in the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Despite overwhelming odds, Tipu Sultan fought until his last breath during the siege of Srirangapatna. His soldiers, weary from the relentless siege, felt the weight of the British onslaught as they defended their fort under the scorching Indian sun. His death marked the end of major resistance in southern India, but his legacy as a symbol of resistance endured. On a cold, misty February morning, the Sikh forces of the Khalsa faced the British in the final battle of the First Anglo-Sikh War. The Sutlej River roared in the background as the two sides clashed, with the Sikhs putting up a fierce defense. Despite their valor, the British broke through their defenses, and the battle ended in a decisive British victory. The aftermath of Sobraon saw the formal surrender of the Sikh forces to the British. The cold wind blew across the battlefield, now littered with the bodies of fallen warriors. The British annexation of Punjab soon followed, bringing the last independent region of India under colonial rule. In the scorching heat of the Indian summer, Indian sepoys mutinied against their British commanders, sparking the revolt of 1857. The rebellion spread through the north, with fierce battles fought in Delhi, Kanpur, and Lucknow. The brutal heat, combined with the relentless fighting, tested both the British and Indian forces. The siege of Delhi became one of the most significant episodes of the rebellion. British forces surrounded the city, enduring blistering heat and sporadic attacks from within. After months of intense fighting, Delhi fell, but the battle had permanently shaken the British hold on India. In the cold, misty hills of northeastern India during World War II, British Indian forces faced the advancing Japanese army at Imphal. The mountainous terrain and heavy monsoon rains made the logistics of the battle difficult. The eventual Allied victory at Imphal turned the tide of the war in Asia, and the Japanese were forced to retreat. From Alexander's invasion to World War II, the battlefields of India have been theaters of immense change. Generals, soldiers, and empires have all felt the weight of Indian history, from its scorching deserts to its monsoon-swept plains. Each battle has left an indelible mark on the subcontinent, shaping the future of its people and the course of history. Our journey through time comes to an end for today. We embark on new adventures every week. If you relish the experience, please like and subscribe.